Hey folks, welcome back. Chief Meteorologist Tim Pandajis here with you on this Tuesday evening. Another update on, we've got some scattered showers out there right now, a few isolated downpours, but we do run the risk tomorrow for seeing another round of some heavy rainfall. So let's talk about what we're tracking as we go through the next couple of days. Now, tomorrow could feature a bit of sunshine. Welcome change, certainly, but the more sunshine we see, the greater our odds are in the afternoon and evening of seeing widespread downpours, maybe even a few storms that could be on the stronger side. Now, while our rain risk over the next couple days after tomorrow will start to trend down, our air temperatures and humidity trending way up, and we'll talk about heat index values or feels like temperatures by the end of the week and into the weekend that could stretch into the mid to upper 90s. Across parts of the area. So we're looking at a very hot and humid stretch of weather that'll feel straight out of mid-July as we wrap up this week and head into the upcoming weekend. Again, those feels like temperatures in the upper 90s, a good bet in some locations Friday and Saturday. All right, here's our live radar. Okay, there's not a ton going on out there. Most of the activity where we'll start is going to be off in the western part of the state, even west of Richmond right now, where over the last 3 hours, notice this line, this narrow line of downpours and storms that's been lining on up pretty much from south to north, and that's been presenting quite an existential flood threat. From Farmville, from South Boston to Farmville up north, just to the east of Charlottesville and Harrisonburg now, actually including Charlottesville, for very heavy rain that is ongoing there right now. In fact, we look at radar here. We could put in some rainfall rates. Let's see if that'll pop up. This is just the last 3 hours, okay? Some of these rainfall rates, we'll go near Charlottesville here and put some numbers on these. 3 inches, so we're looking at an inch-an-hour rainfall rates here over the last couple of hours that has led to substantial amounts of flooding, ongoing flooding here, right over 64, just to the east of Charlottesville and Harrisonburg here, well east of Harrisonburg along I-81 there. We're closer out towards Charlottesville in that location there. And even down to the south near Dillwyn, down to Appomattox, seeing some numbers here in the last 3 hours. I mean, look at this one near Phoenix, that red bullseye. 3.15 inches. We've got 2.5 inches just to the west of Farmville, just to the west of Dillwyn, over 2 inches, closing in on 2.25 in those areas. Meanwhile, the last 3 hours, you go to our area, not much. We've really had a nice break. The only instance is going to be out in the far eastern Virginia Beach here, that as we look at some of these numbers on here over the last 3 hours, picked up about 1/3 of an inch of rain on top of our totals that we've already seen. Here's a look at 24-hour rain totals in Virginia Beach. 2.25, Woodhouse Corner, just north of Creeds, about 1.5 inches. Great Neck, let's see here, about just over 2 inches of rain there. Sliding a little bit farther to the west, we've got places like Chesapeake, central Chesapeake, south of Deep Creek, Great Bridge area, Suffolk downtown, 1 1/3, and north end, about 1.5 inches, over towards Smithfield, over 1 inch. So a pretty good soaking rain for most of us, okay? Bigger picture here shows the highest totals in our local area are going to be out into Northampton and North Carolina. Some totals there over 3 inches. And then we've got the western James City County that got around 2.5 to 3 inches of rain, including the western side of the city of Williamsburg. So that's where we stand so far with our rain totals. This is 24 hours. And we still do have a little bit of rain across our area right now. I put it in motion here just over the last 2 hours. And we can see generally just some light to moderate showers, isolated in nature, that's generally moving from the south to the north. Most of the heavy downpours are off to the east and offshore. But we had some decaying thunderstorms off well east of Rocky Mount, Williamston, Greenville, that tried to lift into our area. There's some residual showers left over from that, but any thunderstorm activity really fell apart as it tried to lift northeast into our area. Still have some showers out of Gates in Hertford County, some heavier downpours there near Reynoldson, and that's moving over the state line into South Suffolk. So we will have the risk for a few more showers and isolated downpours over the coming hours, but things should really quiet down as we head through the overnight. Bigger picture, still have our overall spin in the atmosphere. You can see where our low pressure system is now situated pretty much right over Cincinnati. And this is going to be on the move as it kind of tracks in this general direction here over the next 24 hours or so. But still, it's going to drag through several pieces of energy here that will be almost activated from an increasing amount of sunshine tomorrow. So as we increase the daytime heating, say after 2 o'clock tomorrow, we'll really start to see the radar fill on in from west to east with some showers and thunderstorms. We still have the likelihood of very heavy rainfall rates. Atmosphere is still prime. We're going to revisit the PWATs. We talked about those last night, and PWATs again tomorrow will be similar to what we had today, which was on the order of 1.5 inches to 2 inches of precipitable water available in the atmosphere for those storms to wring out like a sponge and bring us some of those copious amounts of rainfall. I just don't think it'll be as consistent as what we saw today, and we had rainfall rates of 2 inches per hour for a while in some spots earlier today. I do want to show you what it looks like outside right now. Our Skyview camera, Thompson Creek Window Company Skyview camera. You can see the low cloud deck out there. That's atop our tower here in downtown Norfolk at our studios. We do have a low cloud deck out there, and I do expect there to be the development of at least some isolated areas of fog. Here's Futurecast by tomorrow morning, just after sunup. Areas, especially inland closer to the I-95 corridor, will get those visibilities dropping down to a half mile. So keep that in mind. There could be some foggy spots tomorrow inland away from the water as our air temperatures dip to around 70. Dew points not far behind. In fact, in some locations matching, which is why we'll be saturated and have the development of some fog out there. We could see those dew points as high as 70 overnight tonight, especially in the areas that did see the rain today, which was most of us, but ongoing still as you get closer to the I-95 corridor right now. So let's look at the official rain reports. Closing in on 3 inches out at Virginia Beach. That's at Naval Station Oceana, Naval Air Station Oceana, closing in on 3 inches there. That is the highest total on this board from the last 24 hours, well, not even 24 hours, since midnight. About an inch out at Newport News, a little over an inch in Chesapeake to Norfolk, and about 1.5 inches, almost 1 2/3 inches out at West Point, about 1.5 inches at Wakefield. So everybody got a good soaking today. Great news for the lawns, great news for the gardens, and I think tomorrow we're going to see another round. So let's look at Futurecast. This is a brand new model run. This is the evening. This is the evening data that's getting filtered on in here to the HRRR, the HER model. Let's start things off now. Pretty good initialization. Seeing some isolated downpours out there to our south, and especially great initialization for what's going on out near Farmville, west of Richmond, with that line of very heavy rain that persists. Everything dies out and diminishes overnight tonight. Tomorrow morning, with the exception of the isolated areas of dense fog, we'll see some clearing, especially to the south. Now, watch as we approach lunchtime tomorrow. Look at how the cloud deck really thins out, allowing for several hours of likely sunny skies in a lot of areas. The more sunshine we see, remember, the better chances as we get past 2 o'clock, we start to see the radar become a lot more active. So watch this. Here we are at 2:15, starting to see it really fill in to the west. But look at it, it just kind of, it just pops up, bubbles on up. It's like turning the burner on a stove. You know, you start to see the water begin to boil and the whole pot begins to boil. And that's where we're at here by around 5:15, 5:30, right in the middle of that evening commute tomorrow. So that may cause some disruptions on the roadways, slow movement, traffic jams, that kind of thing. So keep that in mind. This is how the radar might look. This most recent run does show more widespread downpours a little bit farther west, but still at least scattered across our area with some very heavy rainfall rates in that. Approaching 8 o'clock, sunset tomorrow night. That whole axis of heavy rain along I-95 looks to shift east and be over our area, so we expect more widespread coverage by that point in time. And then after the sun sets, notice we start to see the intensity drop of these downpours as we lose the daytime heating. We're turning the burner off on the stove, and we'll start to see those downpours dissipate, let up, and really fall apart after sunset tomorrow. So that may correlate to another inch or two of rain for some areas on top of the 1, 2, 3 inches that we picked up today. Severe threat tomorrow, similar to what we had today, a level 1 out of 5. I do think it's a slightly higher level 1 tomorrow. Main hazards, I think, will be gusty, damaging winds, 50, 55, 60 miles per hour. But it does encompass our entire area. And with the intense daytime heating that we see, again, the more sunshine, the higher risk for some storms that could be on the stronger side, better odds of us seeing some gusty, damaging winds in some of those as well. The flood threat for tomorrow, today was a level 2 out of 4. Tomorrow it is a 1 out of 4. So severe threat level 1, flood threat level 1 for tomorrow. So not exceptionally high, but it's not zero either for both of those categories of risk. Let's talk about the precipitable water values, the PWATs. So we started off today, which is why we had the heavy rainfall rates. We were seeing those PWAT values 1.5 to 2 inches. First of all, let me refresh you on what PWATs are. We take a column of air from the surface where you and I live all the way up to the top of the atmosphere. We compress that column of air and basically squeeze out all the available moisture in it and measure it. So when we do that in this sort of atmosphere tomorrow, and what we had today and what we're going to have again tomorrow, we squeeze all of that out, and the amount of moisture we get is 1.5 to 2 inches. That's pretty high for our area and for this time of the year. And typically when you surpass 1.5 inches, that does increase our risk for some flash flooding because our rainfall rates would be so high, be 1 to 2 inches per hour rainfall rates. So that could easily, since we're saturated from today's rain, tomorrow it might just be a little bit easier to see some isolated occurrences, some flash flooding, if not just plain old street flooding out there with the overwhelming of the drainage basins. But you can kind of see the PWATs increase, get enhanced as we head towards tomorrow afternoon and evening. So the atmosphere will be juiced up. All we're going to need is that daytime heating to cause that lift, and we'll get some heavy downpours and maybe some embedded thunder as well for tomorrow. Here's a look at Futurecast rainfall. This is based off of the HER model that I just showed you. Models put out an additional ½ inch to maybe as high as 2 inches of rainfall tomorrow afternoon and evening. So again, that could cause some isolated areas of street flooding and ponding. So overall, the forecast for tomorrow, 83. We've got partly sunny, if not mostly sunny skies for a period of time through late morning and early afternoon tomorrow before we start to see the clouds and the cumulonimbus really bubble on up and storms develop. So we're mainly looking at afternoon storm and downpour threat. I'd say after 2 p.m. is when we'll really see things begin to ramp up. And you can see it played out tomorrow. We've got low chances of any rain in the morning hours, 10 to 20%, and after lunchtime it starts to shoot up, especially by 2 p.m., 50-50 odds, and I think we're up to around 70%, pretty widespread coverage by 4, 5, 6 o'clock. Unfortunately, not the best timing for the Wednesday evening commute. Looks to be a wet one for a good chunk of us. Now let's focus on the heat. Okay, so heading into this weekend, Friday into the weekend, we're looking at temperatures in the upper 80s to around 90. Now, we've been there already. We had our first 90-degree day on April the 6th. It was our second earliest 90-degree day in a calendar year since 2010, I want to say. 2010 was the earliest, and we were right behind that. And then we did it again on May the 1st. So this could be our third, fourth, and maybe fifth 90-degree days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, across our area. Now, on top of the heat, when we had the heat the last time in April and then earlier this month, we didn't really have the humidity. We didn't have a heat index or feels like temperature pushing into the upper 90s, and I think we may find that to be the case Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here's how models are seeing things. Feels like temperatures Friday and Saturday in the mid to upper 90s. We'll have dew points in the upper 60s and low 70s. So it will certainly feel like days that are plucked straight out of mid-July, pretty much. Mid-July, late June, early July, we see our normal high is around 90. So we'll pretty much be right there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And with the humidity, it'll feel like 95 to maybe as high as 98 degrees. Not the band, just the temperature. As we get into Friday, Saturday, and maybe Sunday will be just as hot too. We're going to have a front that's going to eventually deliver some lower humidity. You can see the dew point trend here. It does go as high as 70s, which is excessively humid for Friday into Saturday, and then notice a nice little trend downwards in a more comfortable air for Sunday into Monday, and that does correlate with also a bit of a drop in our temperatures as well during that time. So that's the next thing that's kind of on deck. For the weather we'll be focusing on. That's after tomorrow's rain chances. And, of course, our isolated downpours that we've got out there tonight. There's a downpour here that's moving through Gates County right now near Buckland, Gatesville. About to move into pretty much there is some showers in Whaley and South Suffolk and south of downtown. So it is generally drifting to the north towards downtown Suffolk. So there'll be a few more showers. You may hear a quick downpour or two overnight tonight, a pitter-patter on the windowsill, that kind of thing, but nothing as organized or as widespread as what we dealt with this morning and into the afternoon hours. So that's the latest, folks. We've got the showers that'll dissipate this evening and overnight. Tomorrow, the more sunshine we see. If you walk outside tomorrow and you see lots of sunshine around lunchtime, just know that the odds are up. By the 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock window, we are going to see storms bubbling on up with very heavy rain and the outside chance of a few stronger cells in there as well. So that's what we'll be tracking as we focus on tomorrow afternoon. After that, it's all heat and humidity Friday into the upcoming weekend. Join me on 13 News Now at 11, coming up in 40 minutes on the TV side, myself and Dana Smith. She's back from a nice trip, so come on over and say hello to her. We'll be on TV for 30 minutes at 11 o'clock, and I'll have a new update for you because the graph model, remember we talked about this yesterday, the graph model comes in the new data around 10:35 or so I have it for the 11. The HER model, which I already shared with you, comes out a little earlier. So we had that earlier. Graph model will come out a little bit later. So I'll have that at 11 o'clock and share with you any changes to that. But if you're not going to join us, have a great night. If you are, great. We'll see you then. For myself and the rest of the team here, we'll see you later and have a great rest of your night.